Okay, so we heard there's some good news for Air Canada passengers and also some potentially good news to report for the Canadian consumers. Statistics Canada has released the latest inflation snapshot for the country. The headline, the inflation rate cooled in July to 1.7% from the previous month. Scott Peterson is going through this report for us. So, Scott, what does this mean for consumers?
Well, it does mean that inflation is cooling, and that's the headline number, and that's a good thing. But it's really the price of gasoline falling really did a lot of the heavy lifting here as far as bringing the prices down. For example, energy costs, gasoline costs down 16% from this time last year. So this is such a big metric within the basket of goods that Statistics Canada looks for. This brought down the index in general. But there are some prices that are percolating still. We're seeing food prices. They're still rising month over month. Food purchased from stores, for example, rose at a faster rate in a month, 3.4% over this time last year. And when you dig into that, confectionery items up almost 12% from this time last year. Coffee almost up 29%. That's on the back of poor growing seasons in places where they're growing coffee and sugar. Fresh fruit as well, not to be left out, is up close to 4%. And also we're seeing grapes up close to 30%. Now, in the last 5 years, Canadian consumers, according to StatsCan, are paying just over 27% more in this July over they were 5 years ago in July. And another source of worry here is rising rent prices. Shelter costs up 3% in July over this time last year. And that's the first monthly increase in over a year. So there is some percolating noise here as far as rising prices. But overall, 1.7%, that came down, and again, mostly on the back of lower gasoline costs.
And now, Scott, the Bank of Canada, of course, watches this very carefully.
Yes,
how might this affect the next interest rate decision?
Well, they look at the core prices. When you strip out all the noisy things like gasoline and food, and that core rate is still at about 3%. That's on the high range of what Bank of Canada would like. And so there's some trepidation whether they're going to lower rates when they next meet September 17. So we'll see that, because there's a lot of economic reports saying that maybe the economy all by itself will slow and bring down prices, because overall the background here is that the rising threat of tariffs and the imposition of tariffs will rise prices.